Hello, my name is Jim Masters. I serve as coordinator in the Office of Educator Quality for educator evaluation and training. The bulk of my work is focused on coordinating the activities of the Missouri Leadership Development System. Thank you for taking the time to view Session 3 of the Mentor Support video series. By now, you've likely met your mentee. As we noted in videos 1 and 2, you are an integral part of this person's development. Through mentoring and coaching, you provide a level of support that they may not get elsewhere. Thank you again for your participation in the Missouri Leadership Development System. In today's video, we will review some coaching fundamentals on listening and helping your mentee become an effective problem solver. Listening and problem solving are basic skills undoubtedly familiar to you and, as you know, so critical in school leadership. We will start by taking a few minutes to reflect on what effective listening looks like and how we can use listening as a support that guides the problem-solving process. In addition, we'll review 3 distinct problem-solving models you can share and practice with your mentee as they make important decisions. During the second half of the video, we will share some activities you can do with your new leader to build competence and confidence. We will finish by reviewing how to properly complete the mentor log, which should be submitted to your MLDS specialist by the end of April. Today's content comes, in part, from the Missouri Leadership Development System Mentor Resource Guide, under supporting new leaders and suggested mentor activities. Your MLDS specialist should have provided you the link to the resource guide. If not, please contact them for that resource. If you have access to the guide, I encourage you to refer to it as we work through today's material. Let's start with listening. Listening is one of the most important skills a leader can apply in helping others. As experienced leaders, all of us have probably honed our listening skills throughout our careers and at some point realized the importance of listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond. Mentees will benefit in realizing how impactful it is for someone else to stop, make eye contact, listen for a complete understanding, and ask clarifying questions or make affirming statements without talking about yourself or your own experiences. Not that it's never valuable to share your stories, but it's so often more valuable when you, figuratively speaking, follow your mentee's train of thought and gain an understanding of the substance, emotion, and impact of what they're saying. Hear it, feel it, experience it. Don't take the conversation where you want it to go. Follow them. Stay with them. Focus on their narrative. This concept, listening to understand, is important for you as the mentor as well as for the principal. In their day-to-day interactions with staff, students, and community, this particular skill is important. Seeing you model it can serve as a powerful example. As a mentor, you have significant experience and expertise to share. It is tempting to want to recount your stories of mayhem and survival or assume the role of problem solver. Cognitive coaching techniques note these important tenets. You want the leader to solve a problem, and you want the leader to own the solution. That means asking thoughtful questions and allowing them to talk through their dilemma. Your job is to listen critically without offering a response, to develop a fuller understanding of their situation, to ask relevant probing questions so that they gain a deeper understanding of the issue and formulate an appropriate response. Another suggestion from cognitive coaching is to ask a question and wait for the response. In short, ask a question and be quiet. Research tells us that it takes 3 to 5 seconds for most humans to proceed to a higher level of thinking. So give it time. Let them think. Let them talk. Sometimes your experience and your stories will come in handy, but generally, their experiences and their thinking is going to be most important. As a mentor to a new educational leader, your maturity, your patience, and how you model good listening and positive support will encourage and help them as they build their leadership competence. Allowing time for your mentee to think and process the information you are discussing. Give them time to sort out what they want to say. Be comfortable with silence. Now, let's move to problem-solving models. The Mentor Guide provides different problem-solving models that will be useful for your new leader to know. Because problem-solving is such an integral part of a principal's day, having different strategies at their fingertips is essential. Let's review 3 of the problem-solving models provided in the Mentor Guide, starting with plan, do, study, act, or PDSA. This is a common method of testing a change in some procedure or practice. This might include a change in lunch rotations, dismissal procedures, or transitions during the school day. This method might best be characterized as reserving the right to get smarter, as it includes developing a plan to test the change, hence plan, carrying out the test, or do, observing and learning from the consequences, study, and determining what modifications should be made to the test, which is act. As you work with your new leader, if they are considering changing a process or procedure in their school, they may want to take their leadership team through the plan, do, study, act cycle to test the proposed change. 5 whys is another problem-solving method that has been used by some of the largest organizations in the world. It is also a tried and true learning technique relied upon by millions of 3-year-olds. For adults, it helps identify the root cause of a problem and is a simple tool that is easy to complete without statistical analysis. Basically, the first step is to write down the specific problem. This helps you understand and fully articulate the problem. Then, ask why the problem happens and write the answer below the problem. If the answer doesn't identify the root cause of the issue at hand, ask why again and write that answer. Loop back as many times as needed until the team is in agreement that the problem's root cause has been identified. Let's take students missing the bus to go home as a hypothetical problem. Start by asking, why are students missing the bus? An answer might be because teachers are letting them out of the classroom too late. Why are teachers letting them out too late? Because the last hour of the day is shorter than the other academic hours and it's hard to adjust the limited time. Why is 6 hours shorter? Because we had to expand the lunch time and therefore shave minutes off somewhere else. Why is there a new lunch schedule? Because we had to adjust for more students at lunch. Why are there more students at lunch? Increased enrollment at our school. Perhaps now we come to the realization that more students in school have resulted in making adjustments. And we need to think more carefully when altering schedules, as unintended consequences can have negative implications for students. Now we are better positioned to address the problem. Usually we can find the source of a problem. We are better able to respond to the issue, rather than developing temporary fixes or creating Band-Aid approaches. In short, we are better equipped to solve problems as opposed to simply shifting circumstances. Finally, let's talk about Fishbone, another problem-solving tool used by teams, and one which tends to be useful in group settings where you have little quantitative data. This method is good for capturing different perspectives and stimulating ideas through brainstorming. To construct the Fishbone, you first start with the problem, framing it as a why question. Like, why does our school experience chronic absenteeism? Or, why do students elect not to eat hot lunches provided by the school cafeteria? Or, why do our students perform well on local end-of-course exams, but not well on state assessments? The benefit of this process with a team is that it gets at the root causes of the problems and provides a basis for solution. In a fishbone diagram, the problem is indicated on the right, and a line is drawn to connect all of the, quote, bones coming out vertically from the main line. Next, you're going to label the branches in the diagram. Those are the big headings that provide categories of problems you will brainstorm later. These branches are labeled with the different categories. Once the branches are labeled, teams then begin to look for causes to those problems which contribute to the main issue at hand. In other words, You are narrowing down the problems and the reasons why as you go. This process often leads to improved discussion about issues that lead to bigger problems. The fishbone exercise helps determine next steps for solving problems. Let's look at poor school climate, for example. In the problem of chronic absenteeism, your team might discuss why school climate seems to be an issue based on available evidence. Invite the team to brainstorm reasons from different perspectives. Here, team members observed that inadequate academic and social support, in addition to boredom and uninteresting classes, all contributed to poor school climate. When you put that bone together with the others, you have a lot of information about what might be feeding the situation. Once developed, it's also a good idea to validate the diagram with a larger audience to see how other stakeholders view the problems and causes. There are other problem-solving methods listed in your mentor guide, and new leaders should be reminded of various problem-solving techniques as they determine productive ways to resolve issues that emerge in their schools. So far, we've talked about the importance of active listening and introduced potential problem-solving tools to discuss with our mentees. Next, let's talk about ways to build competence and confidence in your mentee. These classifications can be used for many different topics you'll be working on. Successful leaders work to develop trusting relationships as the foundation of effective practice. The trust in the mentor-mentee relationship will grow as you continue to work together. Sometimes, meeting off campus at a coffee shop or similar place provides a more casual atmosphere for you and your mentee to get to know each other better. Here, you can exchange contact information, schedules, preferred meeting times and places, all of which help the mentee feel more comfortable that they can confide in you. This may seem obvious, but without a trusting relationship, the other activities you will engage in may not be as beneficial. This fundamental piece cannot be overlooked. Another helpful activity to do together is to review the mentee's personal and professional goals. This might include their building improvement plan, their evaluative growth or personal development plan. It's good to have a sense of the leader's personal and professional aspirations as well as short and long-term goals so that they can connect and provide valuable insights and support. Along with knowing the mentee's goals, it's important to help them identify their strengths. A good start for a new leader is to be sure they are cognizant of their talents so they can use them to leverage positive outcomes. Ask the leader to identify their greatest strengths and skills. Encourage them to articulate how they grew those talents and how they use them in their leadership practice. Another activity that will benefit your mentee is to give them the opportunity to, quote, practice something with you. This might be practicing a faculty meeting presentation or a meeting with a parent association. They might want to role play a difficult conversation they are getting ready to have with a staff member. Maybe they'd like to rehearse a request to the superintendent, an introduction to a team meeting, or anything else where the message and tone is important and needs to be carried out with careful consideration. We often advise people to practice in front of a mirror because practice helps us to improve our skills. Practicing in front of a mentor has even greater benefits because the person gets meaningful feedback. In your feedback, remember to point out what they are doing well. They need to know their strengths in this setting so that they can keep doing them. Remember, if someone doesn't realize they're doing something well, they may not continue it. They should know what works and why it works. People should be cognizant of their strengths and the impact they have so they can grow their talents and continue to apply them. Finally, let's take a quick look at the mentoring log, Appendix C in your Mentor Resource Guide. Remember, the log should verify a minimum of 20 contact hours between the mentor and the mentee and should be completed together. On the log, you will provide the date and duration of each interaction and the type of interaction, whether that's a phone call, Zoom meeting, in person, or something similar. You should record the subject of the discussion or activity, and in the final column, record the abbreviated code for MLDS competencies, which can be found in Appendix A of your guide. The log, with at least 20 hours shown, should be completed by the end of April and submitted to your MLDS specialist. This will verify that your mentee has completed the state requirement for participation in 2 years of mentoring. In addition, it will document that you have fulfilled your duties as an MLDS mentor. Any questions should be directed to your MLDS specialist. Thank you for your participation today. I hope you will take the time to enjoy your activities with your mentee. And please remember this: your guidance, support, and friendship are a tremendous benefit to your mentee's growth, development, and future as an educational leader.